Hello friends, welcome in today's lecture, and today let us talk a little bit about communication. What is the type of communication that we do with the world and how that affects us, and what is the type of communication we do with ourselves and how it affects us. And let us learn how communication is going to change the way we look at ourselves, we look at our world, and we look at the whole universe, because the only thing that connects us from this universe is the communication. Since the birth, the child learns to smile. That is the first communication, and seeing and blinking the eyes is the first communication. From there to using all our available senses till the core for interacting with the world defines communication. Let us understand the importance of communication in this world and within our life and its role in our success in this video. I thank you for joining me again, and I also welcome you to subscribe my channel so that I keep you posted with such wonderful information that is going to help you change your life completely. And this information comes from all the giants and all the people. And why I am concentrating on this? Because the biggest reason in today's world, as a physiotherapist, as an NLP therapist and coach, trainer, and as a YouTuber and as a researcher in the field of stress, anxiety and depression, I have come to know that the biggest reason is the lack of communication within ourselves and with the world. That is the main reason of stress, anxiety and depression, which is causing a lot of physical, mental as well as social problems nowadays. So let's understand what is communication and how improving communication will help us improve relationships with ourselves, within ourselves and without ourselves. Thank you for joining me again. Let's move towards the video. It is the communication that matters the most when we talk about existing in this world or existing in this environment. There are two types of communications basically that we come across. The first one is the internal communication. That is the communication that you have with yourselves. What you are saying to yourselves, what you are thinking within yourselves, what are the things that come to your mind when you see the external world, and how you analyze and perceive the world within yourself is the first part, that is the internal communication. The second is the external communication with which we are living and we learn to do so many things in this world. The external communication ranges from speaking, looking, feeling and even physiologically expressing or action that we take in the world through our senses. Or even if you do not take any action, if your physiology changes, even that is a sort of communication. Let me take you through a brief example of these two. Number one, whenever you pass through a place which is having all garbage over there, or if you pass from a river which is absolutely filled with the waste from industries and there is a lot of foul smell over there, even if you are sitting in your car and you are driving the best car and you are having the best type of aroma in the car, still when you cross that certain area, even only with that smell you start feeling something inside you that is not good. And this is a non-verbal, non-physiological, non-physical communication that we take, that we do or that we make. So our NLP principle says that for each communication there is a response. That response can be a verbal, it can be visual, it can be vocal, it can be facial expression, it can be physical movement, physical avoidance, anything XYZ, but it leads to a reaction. So there is nothing that can happen without a communication. Either we communicate externally or even internally. When I say you that yesterday I had a glass of orange juice which was merged with lime water and very good sugar a little bit and a little bit of salt was added into it, and for additional taste I added a little bit of pomegranate juice in it, and this juice when I tasted, because it was added with a little bit of ginger also, it really caused my mouth to water and it really caused my taste buds to give me such a good sensation that I started feeling refreshed as soon as I took one sip of this juice or this lemonade or this drink with orange and lemonade. If this particular description made a little bit of water salivation in your mouth, and if it made you feel the lemon and the orange and the aroma of the lemon and the orange only by the description, just understand how powerful is communication when even my words are creating a certain amount of feeling in your taste buds and in your olfactory nose, I mean to say, and even in your inner physiology, right? So even if a description of such a thing or a description of a pizza topped with capsicum and all types of herbs and a double cheese pizza overloaded and freshly cooked, the aroma of the freshly cooked bread is coming and entering your nose, and that pizza, when you take it in your hand and you take a bite, the type of feeling you feel, you have started feeling the secretion of juices in your gut right now as I discuss this. You have to understand that the communication internal that we do is very subtle communication. You need not have a very broad or very big thing for your internal to communicate. How do we normally communicate internally? The internal communication depends on the way we perceive the world, the way we have learned to perceive the world, our knowledge, our experience, our lifespan, our exposure to things. They lead us to learn so many things and create a image, a feeling and a audition or a sound of anything in this world. So whatever we see, whatever we hear and whatever we feel creates an internal image of anything that we see, feel or hear, and this internal image actually becomes a loop which just gets triggered only by the presence of a stimulus. So even if you pass through in front of a pizza shop, you will almost be able to smell, taste or have the gut feeling or have the feeling of eating that pizza with the fresh baked smell of bread also. How does this happen? This happens only because the way we store our information and the way it is processed inside. And do you know that 80% of information in our brain is processed automatically? Only 20% of information is assessed through your conscious mind and it is processed, and only then when it is important. Each moment you take so many stimulus, you take almost each second you take 2.5 lakh stimulus from the external environment into your internal environment, and you do not save all of them. Hardly 5 to 7 of them are processed and rest all are removed out, because in spite of having lots and lots of internal disk space in our brain, it is a limited thing. So the brain works itself by destroying all the unnecessary information and storing only the necessary information that is important for our brain to remember. And this particular important information is converted into a loop, or it is converted into a memory in our brain. So next time you come across any such thing and that is triggered off. How many times has it happened that you went to a pizza outlet and the bread was stinking, and then henceforth you have not entered any of the outlet of that particular pizza chain, because at one place you get a stinky bread, right? So the moment you try to go into that outlet, you get a stinky bread, until and unless that you overcome here this experience that is stored inside, and you try a new outlet and you taste and you confirm in your brain that the bread only in that particular outlet was sticky and not on the all outlets. This particular example that I just gave is an example of your internal communication. The external communication is saying something outside loud, or either through your eyes, either through, if you see a very beautiful girl passing around you, or an actress crossing around you on an airport, automatically your eyes will widen, your eyeballs will start spreading, and you will have a smile on your face. So even if you are not communicating, your physiology, your facial expressions have started communicating always. When you have a gut feeling of something is going to be good, when the boss calls you and you know that the boss is going to say something good to you, that internal feeling starts blushing your face already before the boss calls you. And someday when the boss calls you, that gut feeling of yours always says you that today something is going to get bad because God has called you, and God is going to and because boss has called you, sorry, and boss is going to take a toll on you, right? So how do we come to know this? We come to know this because of the continuous analysis of the internal and external environment that goes in our life. So guys, please understand two things over here. Number one, the communication we make is of two types. Number one, it is the internal communication that we make from ourselves, with ourselves, that the instructions we give, whatever we see and how we perceive it in our inner world is the first communication. The second communication is the communication with the external world that we have with every other person on this earth. And this internal communication is based on the perceiving, how we perceive the things, and the external communication is based on how we analyze, perceive, and then we respond to the things that we are perceiving. These are the two basic things you have to understand. And here you have to understand that each and every successful person perceives the world differently, has a different inner conversation and has a different external conversation. And these are the main things that are basically going to make changes, that are basically going to create changes, that are basically going to create the difference and define your success or your failure or your position in this world and in this society overall. So stay with me. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and please turn on the bell notification, because I am going to share with you many informations to change your perception of the world so that you can live in a new, better, safer and successful world in your life, and you will gain all that you want. You will have the power to control and win over every situation and everything that you face in your life.